Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee meeting for June 4th to order. I'm Steve Havey, your committee chair. First of all, I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Mr. Havey?
Here.
Mr. Stockin?
Here.
Mr. Barnes? Mr. Bissett?
Here.
Mr. Demick?
Here.
Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mrs. Ricketts-Swales?
Here.
And Mr. Harris? 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you very much. We'd like to have an approval of minutes for May 7, please. Looking for a motion?
Ricketts-Swales will move that.
Thank you. And a second?
Demick will second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on these minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And those are approved. Thank you. First up, we have Mr. Ian Jones, our district attorney, who could not appear. He is in court. You can, however, refer to his report and put forth any questions directly to him. And up next after that is Mr. J.R. Santana Carter, our public defender. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to rest on the report submitted, but I'm happy to be here today because I wanted y'all to take a moment and see the fruits of y'all labor. Some while ago, y'all voted to approve 2 positions in my office throughout the year for office aides, which would most likely be college students who are interested in studying law or who are already in law school and interested in practicing public interest law, such as with the Public Defender's Office, the Conflict Defender's Office, the County Attorney's Office, or the District Attorney's Office. So today I have with me 2 of those office aides that's with us for the summer, and so we just stopped in to say hello. They're both, again, eager to possibly practice law after they finish their undergraduate programs, and I'm hoping that they come back to this area because this is where they call home and help us fulfill this attorney shortage, and maybe they can begin their career in public service. So again, we just come to say hello. There'll be other stuffs on the agenda maybe next month where I'll be asking for your vote, but I just wanted to see some of the good work that y'all do, and again, totally funded by Indigent Legal Services, but we wouldn't have them here unless y'all took action to bring them here. And so, again, I thank you, and I rest on that.
Excellent.
Any questions?
Thank you for being here, you guys, and thank you for your choice of career, and thank you for considering being here after you graduate, because we certainly do need you. So, would you introduce them, please? Would that be okay?
I'll just have them come and introduce them.
Okay. Good plan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sam Wildrick Cole. I'm a current Cleveland State University finance student interested in contract law. I wanted to thank everybody for giving me the position, giving me the time. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Reagan Hagstrom. I'm studying criminal justice over at Alfred State. I've got 1 year left to graduate with my bachelor's. I grew up right around here. And again, like Sam said, thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Carter from his report? Everyone satisfied with the report, sir, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Peter Degnan, our conflict defender, is up next.
Yes.
What is it you bring? I'm sorry. The
All
pizzazz?
good news. All
Pizzazz,
good news.
razzle-dazzle, what is
Pizzazz.
it? Something.
We all have
Okay.
pizzazz. So everything's going pretty good. The numbers are about the same as they were last month. The good news is, we always have good news, is our building's coming along. We're picking up new people. We lose a couple every now and again, but everybody loves working down here. We've had a lot of positive reports, and thank you very much, but they like how the program is working. So if they need an investigator, they just come to me. We're able to provide that out of ILS funds. If they need experts, they can go to us. Other counties are not quite, they have a lot more red tape they have to go through, so they enjoy working here. a lot better because of the support that we're able to give them. So that is really good news. If we just get some of them to stick around and move down here,
Yeah.
that would be good. But it all starts with one step, you know, they got to like it first. So it's all, in my mind, going pretty good.
Absolutely true. I see that you have enough numbers here to make sure that you're actively employed.
Yeah,
That's good.
well, we got to keep that going, right?
keep it
You know, that's the
going.
most important. I was telling JR, there's 2 interns, if they really wanted to learn, would be at my office, but, you know.
Well, you never
okay.
know. Do we have questions for Mr. Degnan? Jan, go ahead.
Are you ready to move into your building?
Well, that's, you know, that's dynamic, but, you know, we thought April, and then it was May, now it's June, but we're thinking about July. So I am ready, because we just have, it does create a lot of logistical issues, honestly, and to comply with our grant, we are going to have to provide more services, and that does have the space. So it's really going to up us another level. And I think we're going to get somebody to move down here and open an office just by all the positive reports that I have. So I'm fairly confident that that is going to happen. And when we can get them some of space that they can work in and really be a little more involved in the area, I firmly believe it's going to happen, because we have a lot of people giving us positive feedback. So, yeah, we'll be happy when it's open, you know. And we're waiting for the funding on the statue of me there, but, you know,
Yeah.
when that comes around, you know, ILS will give it to us.
Yeah, we'll
Don't worry
vote on
about
that
it.
later.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Okay. Up next, we have our fire coordinator, Bill Day. He is not able to be here with us today. He's in training. I would have you refer to his report, and if you have any questions, channel them directly to him. And right now, we have Bonnie Van Housen, our OES and EMS coordinator. Hi, welcome.
Hello. As for Bill, he's taken the Emergency Management Academy, so that's why he's going to be out of town off and on for the next 6 weeks taking that, so that's why he's not here. As far as things I'd like to highlight that we have been working on the incident action plans for all of the festivals coming up this summer. We've been working in conjunction with the Sheriff's Office, MTS, Department of Health, and all of them to get together so that we can get good incident action plans together for the fair, the Estival Festival, the balloon rally. So our office has been doing a lot of that. The other thing that we've been working on is there's an annual EMS skills that has to be done for all of the EMS in the county, all the providers. So we've offered 3 of those so that they can be credentialed for the next year. So our office has been a bit busy with all that.
Excellent. Questions for Mrs. Van Housen? Letting you off easy.
See that?
Thank you. Appreciate all you do. Up next, we have our probation director, Mr. Scott Grantier. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You have the monthly report for the month of May, and I'll take any questions on that before I have a couple action items for consideration.
Okay. Any questions on the report put forward by the director? Okay. Nope, I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay.
What's next?
The first action item is MOE, a request for slight modification of our contracts with Catalyst. Catalyst is our company which we provides our software, which is our main operating system for probation, pretrial. In the past, we've had 2 separate contracts with Catalyst, one being for software maintenance, one being for hosting. and they were due at odd months. And what this does is hopes to combine two separate contracts into one, do it one date in the middle of the year, which makes it convenient for moving forward, I think. Still well within budget, and, I think their price outlines are very fair moving forward, and that is in the budget for 2025.
Okay. A motion, please.
Demick will move that.
Thank you. And a second. Second. Thank you. And discussion and questions on this particular MOE? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you.
The second MOE is to do with Stop DWI program. This is for seeking a resolution for acceptance and appropriation of a donation fund to the Stop DWI program in the amount of $100.
Okay. A motion, please? Thank you. And a second?
Healy.
Thank you. Discussion on this option, this MOE, excuse me. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that is carried.
I wanted to give a quick update for the OVW, which is the Office of Violence Against Women grant agreement we have through Accord. This is a legacy grant. As you may recall, there was a resolution in late 2024 authorizing permission to apply for the grant. Through the changes in the federal government with DOGE and many grant portals going on hold, that was closed for quite a while. In late May, it reopened, and we have a very short window for which to reapply for a 3-year grant program to fund our OVW services or related services. I kind of put the clerk of the board and the county attorney's office on notice that this is a rare, very short window. We're prepared to take this over the goal line. I mean, it's all ready to go. It's just a matter of fine tuning the application and getting it submitted. And we have a deadline of June 25th. But I think we're going to get it done. But I just wanted to kind of give the board an update as to a very unique, big, important grant project in a very short month. So I'll keep you posted as we go, but I'm optimistic.
I'm glad that you're aware and are taking care of this. This would be an important one. It would be tough to lose.
Yeah, and this is a 3-year grant program, so this would be 2025 through 2028, and it supports great services that probation staff is very involved with those high-risk populations. So, very important.
You said the funding source was ARC?
No,
Accord?
Accord, we are in partnership with Accord. The funding source is the Department of Justice.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, yes. So the money, they're just they just act as a pass-through when you're providing the service, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay. Have anything else for us?
Lastly, I would just like to turn over to Jessica McKnight to talk a little bit about the Stop DWI Program's Victims Impact Panel that was held, and I'll
Excellent. Thank you.
introduce Jessica. Thank you very much.
Jessica, welcome.
Thank you. I think, can you grab that?
I'll start by apologizing for all the ruckus back here. Our office is testing video surveillance stuff with Fillmore and Wellsville schools. I can't mute it because it's a panic alarm. I can't mute it, so I apologize.
It's okay. We'll work with it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to have it here.
Thank you all. On Friday, May 2nd, Allegheny County Stop DWI hosted a countywide victim impact panel for all juniors and seniors. Our goal was to get the message out to make wise choices. We had an afternoon of impactful speakers hoping to significantly alter attitudes and behaviors towards driving under the influence and distracted driving, potentially leading to a reduced likelihood of future offenses. The key was to humanize the consequences of drunk and distracted driving by presenting real-life impacts on individuals and families, rather than just abstract statistics. By hearing firsthand accounts, the students developed a deeper understanding of the consequences of drunk and distracted driving and are more likely to change their behaviors. We had 4 presenters: Chris Smith, retired New York State Trooper and Alfred Elman Central School Security Officer; Scott Lanfair from Medical Transport Services presented on the effects of fire and EMS; Sheriff Cicerello presented on the effects to our law enforcement community; and our main speaker was Kim Clark, a Steuben County Sheriff dispatcher. She was accompanied by Deputy Salzman. Kim is the mother of Emily Raleigh, who was tragically lost her life in a car crash in 2019. Kim continues to share her family's story to educate others and prevent similar incidents. The Emily Challenge trailer was established last year in Steuben County. The trailer features real-life crash scenes and multimedia presentations, including testimonial from victims' families, investigators, and first responders. It serves as a powerful reminder of the life-altering consequences of reckless driving. We also took this opportunity to do some outreach to get students to volunteer with their local fire and EMS. We would like to thank those of you who are in attendance: Allegheny County Probation Department, the Allegheny County Sheriff's Office, Steuben County Sheriff's Office, the Emily Challenge Trailer, New York State Police, Medical Transport Services, Belfast Ambulance, Genesee Valley Junior Fire Program, Angelica, Belmont, and Scioto Fire Departments, and the Genesee Valley School for providing us whatever we needed for that day and days leading up. A special thank you to Scott Lanfair and Tim Hand, Lieutenant Tim Hand. Without their help and many hours of planning, this day would not have been possible. We have already begun planning for next year's mock crash. We plan to continue to rotate back and forth between the mock crash and the victim impact panel. Each year, we'll be reaching out to different law enforcement and EMS agencies to take the lead with this event. Thank you.
On behalf of this committee, I'd like to thank you and everyone who was involved in this for such a worthwhile project, and keep up the good work. We look forward to seeing what you do next year.
Thank you.
Jessica, both myself and Legislator Hanchett attended. Mr. Havey, I'm not sure.
I wasn't there, I apologize.
Okay. And I was impressed. I hadn't been in a couple of years to one, and I thought it was very well organized and very professional.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Up next, we have our Sheriff, Scott Cicerello. Good afternoon, Sheriff.
Good afternoon. Real quick, I would just like to say to Jess, Tim, Scott, and Scott Grantier, this presentation that they put together every year, the victim impact for the students in the schools, it takes a tremendous amount of effort, a tremendous amount of work and resources to put this together. And I will tell you, I get asked all the time, is it worth all of that effort? If that message resonates with the one student and saves one life, it's all worth it. And I can't tell you, I had so many parents reach out to me after this year's presentation that had their sons and their daughters relay stories about what they heard and how impactful it was. They're doing one hell of a job, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. So I just want to point that out.
Thank you.
All right, you have my reports. Any questions?
Any questions for the Sheriff? There's a lot of information here.
There is. There's a couple of items of note that I would like to discuss real quick. I noted in my summary review that we're in the finalization of our records management system by Teller Technologies. And the undertaking has been quite substantial for this program. It started as our CAD system, our computer-aided dispatch system, utilizes New World Systems, which is a Tyler Technologies product. And that is our quick screen. So whenever there's a call, it goes into the CAD. All of the police officers, state troopers, and deputies in this county are able to access that CAD through dispatch in their cars. So we're taking it with this program a step further. Now, all of their incident-based reporting, all of their arrests are done through the same system in which we have in the CAD. So it's seamless. All of the information transitions into their own records management program. And where this is a real tremendous benefit to us personally is that it links every office, every law enforcement agency in the county to one database. In the past, and this is something going back 20 years, even longer now, probably over 30 years. We've always tried to find a clearinghouse of information for law enforcement. So if the Cuba Police Department stops someone and they flag that person as dangerous, maybe has weapons, the next day, if the Wellsville Police Department were to stop that same person, they would have no knowledge of the previous event. This gives us the opportunity to have access to real-time information. So if it's a subject that's flagged, as soon as they run it in the cars, they know they have a problem. It increases officer safety and awareness, in addition to the benefits of having all of the information in one place at one time. So I just want to say thank you to this committee for being a part of this program. Also, Carissa, the county administrator's office, and also Chairman Harris were integral in getting this system purchased through ARPA funds and allowing this to happen. It's been over 2 years now in progress, and we're finally in the phase where we're ready to go live and start training personnel. So I just want to thank everyone for allowing this to happen. The other item of note, every agency struggling in this county with hiring employees, with recruitment and retention. Law enforcement, it's a little bit harder than most right now. I will say we have had a great exchange. The county administrator's office in Mallory Short has been also very helpful with this process. Bobby Buttinger in HR, Ashley in HR, and then my administrative team, they've come together and they've tried to find ways that we can make this hiring process a little more efficient, a little more streamlined. We've always seemed to be running into walls with laws, civil service law. And we've been fortunate that Director Buttinger has come up with ways that we can kind of work around some of these things and streamline the process. And we're finding that we're getting more of our applicants in faster, we're processing them quicker, and we're hiring them faster than we ever have. And that's not possible with everybody involved in this thinking outside of the box and finding a way that we can do things a little bit better and a little more efficient. So I want to thank everybody that's involved in this. We're still not anywhere near where we need to be. Seems like every time we hire 2 more, we lose 2. So it's still a very difficult process. We're probably looking at the end of the year before we become fully staffed. But I'm finally optimistic about this process. It seems like we're finally making progress. So I just want to thank everyone involved.
Yeah, that's excellent. I'm glad you finally have the tools to get this accomplished.
Other than that, I don't have anything further unless you have questions.
Okay. Anyone have anything for the sheriff? He's got a lot of info here.
Okay.
Looks like everybody's good with it.
Matters of business, we have first an MOE for a budget modification transfer, transferring one account to another in the amount of $53,400.
Okay, and I'll take a motion for that.
William make it.
Thank you. And a second? Thank you. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you.
I have an MOE for authorization to apply for a grant. It is the Department of Homeland Security grant for 2024 and 2025, statewide interoperable communications targeted grant. I'm asking for permission to apply.
Demick will move that.
Thank you. Thank you. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that is carried.
I have a request to fill RFP for 3 part-time cooks. They're vacant due to resignations and people leaving the service.
Okay.
Stocking.
Thank you. A second? Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that is carried.
That is all I have at the moment. We do have a couple of other pending matters that we didn't get in under the deadline, but we will get those to you as soon as possible.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We are down to an agreement with medical transport. Would someone from the A-team like to kick this off? Good afternoon, sir.
No, good afternoon. What we have before you is an MOE requesting permission or authorization for Chairman Harris to sign an agreement with MTS that would run from July 1 through December 31 of this year, with a not to exceed amount of $495,000 for that 6-month timeframe, and an overall annual amount of $990,000. We are looking at this for the cost of readiness. The funding for this will come out of unanticipated fund balance in the amount of $390,000. So that's really what we have to put before you today. So.
Okay. I'd like to have a motion, please.
Brissette will move.
Thank you. A second?
Demick will second.
Thank you. Okay, discussion. I could have sworn there would be discussion on this matter, no? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. I like these kind of days. So.
Thank you. That was easy. Okay. We have, okay, yes, this is going to be for the jail food services. Good
Yes.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I
Kick us
have
off
here.
with this.
What's that?
Kick us off with this so we
All
know what we're
right.
doing.
So I have here for you an MOE requesting authorization to advertise for a request for proposals, or RFP, to provide food services to incarcerated persons at the Allegheny County Jail. Administration and the sheriff would like to examine all options for food services, including the request for permission to exercise the option of issuing an RFP for these services.
Healy will move it.
Thank you. A second? Thank you. Discussion. First of all, Mrs. Burdick.
I know Office for the Aging, when they put out requests for people to do the Meals on Wheels in the congregate site, they have a very difficult time getting anyone to bid. Do you anticipate getting anyone to bid on this, and anybody from Allegheny County?
Yeah. We always hope that we find vendors within the county. I think the Sheriff's Department has done an outstanding job reaching out to their partners across our region, different Sheriff's Department, to see how they administer food services within their jail facilities, asking if they use outside vendors, who those vendors are. So this will be something that once we have an approved RFP, if you guys allow us, we will put it out on a New York State contracts list. We'll also reach out to vendors that maybe provide services nearby, anyone we've had communication with, and then obviously advertise it. So the hope is that we put it out there, we see what comes, so that we're doing what is in the best interest of Allegheny County taxpayers.
Is it?
Would this
Go ahead.
possibly provide meals for OFA? Would it be I know there's been talk at one time of possibly having the jail do the meals. Would this kind of advance that, or no?
I think it's early to say yes, absolutely. I would love for the sheriff to join me in on this conversation. The RFP is specifically for food services at the jail.
I know there's been talk at one time of possibly having the jail do the meals.
I don't know, but I think we're hoping maybe long-term thinking, if that's a possibility, or even a backup plan, I think that would be great long-term thinking. But not anything that we're going to finish our contract with the current provider before, those terms are set.
My question related to that is, are the menu requirements the same? OFA has very strict menu requirements, which make the bidding difficult.
The docks has its own set of requirements, and that's all that the regulations will be referenced to and included in appendices of the RFP. It's also one of the options that we're listing in the RFP is dietary services. So a dietitian that would be able to read codes and create a menu that is appropriate for those codes and regulations. So that would be something to consider if we were to take that next step, next leap after considering for the jail, if we would roll in the services with OFA and Meals on Wheels.
So we're kind of just getting the cart ahead of the horse here, I think. We're just going out for an RFP right now, correct?
And this is for outside of the jail kitchen facility, not utilizing the jail kitchen facility?
This is for all and above, so I think there was a neighboring county, I think it was Cayuga County, that we're using as a model, and they've kind of given a tiered approach of what they're requesting quotes on. So part of it is utilizing our facility, absolutely.
I think Mr. Harris had a comment.
Yeah, along the same line. So all options being, one option would be utilizing jail employees, another option would be utilizing outside employees to fulfill the contract?
Correct.
So you're getting bids for both? Okay, thanks.
Okay. Is there anything a sheriff would like to add to this?
Just in short, for Jan, yes, that is a possibility of us being able to contract to do that. That's a whole other discussion, and as Mike said, it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, but it is a possibility. We would have the potential to be able to accomplish that. As far as the dietary restrictions, absolutely. We have some pretty strict regulations through docs that we currently use for dietary restrictions. We would be able to accommodate for that as well.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this particular matter? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, up next we have a draft local law. I'm going to guess that Ms. Carroll might want to walk us through this a little bit. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I don't have any razzle-dazzle for you, but I apologize. I didn't know that I needed it today. So I do have in front of you for your consideration a draft of local law intro number 1-2025, a local law establishing the Allegheny County Animal Abuser Registry. I would first like to thank Legislator Hanchett and Sheriff Cicerello for bringing this to all of our attentions and for championing this local law. They both have brought a great topic to the forefront here in Allegheny County. I know that there are many other counties who have adopted a similar local law. They've also already done some outreach to the community through a press release and have explained the reasons why they do believe that there should be a local law adopted by this Board of Legislators. And they've also done some upfront work that helped to assist me in preparing this local law. So I do want to thank them both for their efforts. So before we go through the sections of the local law, I do want to go ahead and explain what the timeline would be in the adoption of this local law, because we are getting into the busy season of the summer. As many of you are aware, July is also a different month for our board meetings because we do have the fair board meeting. So after we go through this local law today and we review it, and if there are any edits that need to be made, the plan would be that at next month's Public Safety Committee, a MOU would be brought to the Public Safety Committee on July 2nd requesting a resolution to set the public hearing for this local law to happen at the board meeting on August 27th of this year. The presentation of the local law on the desks of the legislators and the resolution to approve the public hearing of the local law would then occur at the board meeting on August 13th of this year. And that's due to our July board meeting schedule, with the second board meeting being moved to the third week in July because of the fair. And then the public hearing would be held at the board meeting on August 27th, 2025, and the board can also adopt the local law that day by resolution, unless the board felt after the public hearing that they needed additional time to consider any of the comments made by the public. So that is the timeframe that that we would be looking at, moving this local law forward. So we'll just go through the local law section by section. I'll give you a summary, and then if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. So Section 1 of the local law just explains the intent of the local law, which is to establish a registry of individuals in Allegheny County who have abused animals. And then it also specifies the reasons why you, as the Board of Legislators, would be adopting this local law, and why you want to have this registry be established and organized and exist. Section 2 is definitions, and so it lists the following terms of art that you'll be using throughout the rest of the local law and what they will mean. So you define what animal abuse crime means, and these are all the violations that will be considered animal abuse crimes under the New York State Agricultural Markets Law, as well as from the New York State Penal Law. It also defines what an animal is, what the definition of an animal abuse offender. It defines what an animal abuser registry is, what an animal shelter is, what a conviction is, a pet seller, a service animal, and also what a voluntary placement agreement is. And that is for those situations where someone is not necessarily convicted in court, but someone will just agree that they pled guilty to a lesser offense than they were originally charged with, and they either agree to be placed on the animal abuser registry, or as part of a legal case, they just agree to be placed on the animal abuser registry. Section 3 talks about how we establish an animal abuser registry, and directs the Allegheny County Sheriff or a designee to establish the online animal abuser registry, and that it will contain the names, resident addresses, animal abuse crimes, and date of convictions or voluntary placement agreements of all animal abuse offenders living in Allegheny County who are convicted of an animal abuse crime or who agree to a voluntary placement agreement on or after the effective date of this local law. So it also directs that the online animal abuser registry will be maintained by the sheriff's office, and that a link to the registry will be found on their official website. Also, the registry will contain required information about each animal abuse offender's information for a period of 20 years following their release from incarceration, or from the date of their conviction or the date of their signed voluntary placement agreement. And then we also have a paragraph that talks about what happens if they successfully appeal their conviction, as well as if their conviction or convictions are eligible to be automatically sealed under New York State's Clean Slate Act. Do you have any questions so far? Legislator Ricketts-Wells.
That's fine. Does it go back in time? So, like, if the sheriff had arrested someone, say, in the last year or two, would those names also be placed, or are they not? Are we just starting from a certain date?
We're starting from a certain date.
Okay.
The effective date.
Thank you.
Yes. So Section 4 details the registry requirements. So this section states that any animal abuse offender who is required to register, they have to do so within 5 days, either of their release from incarceration, or if they are not an incarcerated individual, from the date of their conviction or from the date of their voluntary placement agreement. It also, the court is required to forward to the sheriff's office the name and the resident address of the person, as well as additional information. And that is the notification that the sheriff's office will receive that a person is required to register. It also gives all the information that the sheriff's office will need to prepare on a form that the animal abuse offender will need to provide
to the registry, and there is a registration fee that a person who's required to register must pay, and that is $125. My papers are getting a little messed up here. And then all those fees will be used to help pay administrative and maintenance costs for the registry. And then also the sheriff is directed to promulgate any rules and regulations that are necessary to implement anything associated with the registry. Section 5 lists all the prohibited acts and all the required registry checks under the local law. So it says that no animal abuse offender shall possess, own, or adopt or purchase an animal. No animal shelter, pet seller, or other person or entity who is located in Allegheny County. So you have to remember that this local law is only applicable to anything that is happening here in Allegheny County, and any animal abuse offender who resides in Allegheny County. Doesn't matter what happens outside of the county here. So no animal shelter, pet seller, or other person entity located in Allegheny County shall sell, exchange, or otherwise transfer the ownership of any animal to any person residing in Allegheny County enlisted as an animal abuse offender on the Animal Abuser Registry, nor such animal abuse offender be allowed to retain possession of any currently owned animals. And then prior to selling or exchanging or transferring any any animal, an animal shelter, a pet seller, or any person, such as myself, if I was giving up one of my cats, I would have to examine the Animal Abuser Registry to confirm that the name of that potential owner of the animal is not listed. But Section 5, however, is not applicable to service animals for people with disabilities. Section 6 lists the penalties and the violations that are associated with the local law. So it lists what would happen if an animal abuse offender who's required to register with the Animal Abuser Registry doesn't do so. They can be guilty of a misdemeanor, and they can be punished by incarceration of a period not more than 1 year, or possibly of a fine not to exceed $5,000, or both. Any animal abuser offender who violates the prohibition against possessing, owning, adopting, or purchasing an animal, except for service animals for people with disabilities, they can be guilty of a misdemeanor as well, and they can also get incarcerated or have to pay a fine not to exceed $10,000, or both. And any animal shelter, pet seller, or other person, such as myself, that knowingly or with reckless indifference that violates the section that talks about prohibited acts and required registry checks can be guilty of a violation. But however, it's not a violation if that animal shelter or pet seller or anyone examined the registry prior to the sale and the name of the animal abuse offender did not appear on the list. And the district attorney is directed to prosecute this local law. And the effective date of the local law will be January 1st, 2026. And that gives both the district attorney's office and the sheriff's office enough time to set their offices up to manage and handle this registry.
Okay, is it appropriate to take questions now?
Yes, I can take questions.
All right. Mrs. Hanchett.
I would just like to add, in talking to the sheriff, a constituent brought it to me, and there's quite a few animal rescue associations across Allegheny County, and what was happening, animals were going from one to the other, and nobody even knew. I think what got my attention of it really is kind of a low-hanging fruit that can have a huge impact, because it's not just starting with animal abuse, it can expand into other issues. And when I talked to the sheriff, because I didn't know which direction to go, but researching it, they already have a sexual abuse registry. So it's not developing a new program, it's adding to it. So that certainly keeps keeps the cost down. And he really felt that it wouldn't be a high impact on labor
except for just setting it up in the beginning. So I thought it was a win-win situation, a very positive response from it. So I'm behind it, obviously. So thank you.
Okay, questions?
Legislator
Mr.
Barnes?
Barnes.
You mentioned that this only applies to Allegheny County. So if an abuser in another county moves to Allegheny County, we don't hear about it not until they abuse here in Allegheny County. Is that true?
That is right. Yeah. Yes.
So somebody that's accused here in Allegheny County and found guilty moves to another county, that information is not available to the new county.
Well, so one of the requirements also, or what our local law also states, is that the registry will also have links to other animal abuse registries. So we can't, I mean, so while technically we're not obligated to, check the other registries. If someone was curious about somebody and they knew what the county that they previously lived in, you could check that county to see if they were listed there and then make the determination that you did not want to sell to that individual because they were on that. But we do not have to enforce our local law because because if they moved from a different county but they were not on our registry, that's not in violation of our local law. But you can check other registries and look.
Mrs. Burdick.
So if someone reports an animal abuse in their town, who do they call? Their local police department or the county? I mean, it's strictly enforced by the county, correct? So they would have to call the county sheriff's office? They wouldn't call their local police department?
Well, they can if they believe that somebody is being abused, if a neighbor in a municipality is believing that an animal is being abused, they should still call their local police department because they still need to be charged with a crime of whatever that specific abuse may be, and then they still need to go through the legal process and potentially either be convicted or admit to the conviction, and then it's only when they're convicted or when they plead to a lesser offense or agree to be put on the registry do they then get put on the registry.
But it's not prosecuted in local court, correct? Because it says in here that it's prosecuted by the district attorney.
No, the district
No,
attorney.
the district attorney only prosecutes the violation, only prosecutes any, if there's a violation of the local law. Or if there's a violation of the local law, the district attorney prosecutes the violation of the
These
local
laws, the
law.
laws covered under this local law, most of them are all in the state against the law already in state statute.
Right.
Correct? And so the district attorney is going to prosecute no matter what. The violation, if we pass this, then he'd also have to charge any prosecution of this law in addition to those laws that were the initial complaint. This would just be like another violation, right? So it gives them like another tool. Today, it seems like they got more emphasis on animals than they do on children and people in this state. But if a lot of the laws, and I'm not up to date on them, but a lot of them, the abuse laws, animal abuse, they upgraded to felonies even. A lot of them or misdemeanors, and it would generate a criminal history on the state level. So for as far as any police agency or related agency, for police officers or peace officers, they could still access that information via a criminal history when they did an investigation. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. If I get this right, and let me see if you get me straight if I get off course here a little bit. What we're talking about is the this local law which establishes a registry. We're not talking about a local law that prosecutes the offenses.
Correct.
This is
This is-
strictly the
this is-
local law that establishes the directory, and if there are violations of the directory, then the sheriff.
That
would-
is correct.
Okay.
So the registry is for the registry is for those individuals who have already been convicted
Correct.
of a crime against animals, specific crimes against animals. And should they violate anything listed in this local law pertaining to the registry, then the district attorney would
Okay.
be involved.
Who else has a question? Mr. Bissett, sir.
This is just looking down the road a little bit, I guess. If a neighboring county passes a similar law, is there any way that we could do a reciprocal with them for that and just have an amendment change or not? Or like I said, that's just a.
Yeah, that in my research on other local laws, I didn't see any reciprocity in them. That's not to say that it's not possible, and that's something that I would be happy to research in the future and see if it's even legal.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, if I could just go down to 6.3. Any animal shelter, pet seller, or other person or entity that knowingly or reckless indifference violates Section 5, which is selling, let me see where I'm at here. Section 5 of local law is guilty of a violation. Okay, we'll have to step back a little bit to see what that violation is, but there's no fine associated with that.
Correct.
That
And-
particular line has no teeth.
Correct. And so I was going to put on my very little used criminal procedure law hat and look up what penalties could be associated with a violation before I came in here this afternoon, and I forgot to. So I'm not really sure what penalties can be associated with a violation. I do not know if the board wishes to attach a penalty to a violation. And if so, I can look that up and see what would be,
Appropriate?
what appropriate.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, so what are we here to do today?
So what you are here to do today is this is just a discussion about the local law, and if you wanted any edits or changes, it was to go through it, make sure you understood it. If you requested any edits or changes for me to make those, because when we come back in July for the MOE for the
So we
public
can
hearing.
contact you between now and
Right, you
then.
can contact me now and then for changes, but once it gets presented at the beginning of August, it has to be in its final form. Once we start that process, we can
Right.
make any other changes.
So we got a couple more meetings yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
all
you.
right. I think what this says is that an animal seller, if they transfer an animal without checking the registry, that is a violation, and the question is, should there be any fine involved in that violation?
So that is something that you can all think about and circle back to me on, and
Okay.
I can look at that as well.
All right, very good. We appreciate your input on that. I think something should be in there, but until you do your research, perhaps we don't know what that might be.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. All right. We are down to the very last item. Mallory, what is it? You are, and welcome back.
Thank you. So the last item, if I may begin, is requesting a resolution appointing Scott D. Golden to the full-time position of Director of Emergency Management. The appointment shall be effective June 16th, 2025, expiring December 31st, 2025, pursuant to Local Law 4 of 2024, which was the local law for the Department of Emergency Management. If I could tell you a little bit more about Scott Golden, our candidate that we are presenting for your consideration. Scott is a colonel with the New York State Army National Guard. He is a longtime resident of Allegheny County with a bachelor's degree from Houghton University and a master's degree from American Military University in Emergency Management. For career experience, he has 28 years total time in the New York Army National Guard, all in the medical field. His career started as an enlisted combat medic specialist, where for 2 years he performed medic duties as well as teaching basic medical classes. Most recently, he served as the Deputy Joint Surgeon of the New York National Guard during the pandemic. As the Deputy Joint Surgeon, his team led New York State to be the first state in the nation to receive and distribute one of the COVID-19 vaccines. That's just one example of the many in his experience recently. Military assignments stateside and abroad required the readiness, planning, and leadership of up to 16,000 soldiers.
Very good. Can I have a motion?
I'll move that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Healy?
And a second?
Bissett.
Thank you, Mr. Bissett. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
I'm wondering if there's a plan, procedure, or policy for onboarding for this new director, department head, so you're just not throwing him in to see if he sinks or swims,
You don't want to do the whole baptism by fire?
right?
No, yes, so what we've talked about with the chairman, and actually, before we could even talk to him about it, by him, I mean, of course, Colonel Golden, is a meeting with chairman, or he asked for a meeting with whoever the appropriate people of authority are to go over and establish goals, what challenges he needs to meet head-on first. So we have scheduled and laid out the first 2 weeks of his appointment, should he be appointed, meetings with stakeholders to review the local law with Brooke and Carissa, and if there's anyone else to be included. We have that established or penciled in on a calendar. Then we'll also communicate with him on specific policies that we've found to be stumbling points. The stakeholders that we've asked to meet with him are people that have a hand in collaborative policies, procedures, things where there's constant interaction in-house in the county, just to get him started. If there's anything else you guys want to direct, by all means, please let us know and we can get that on the books.
As long as he gets some sort of acknowledgement of his fellow department heads, so they're all on the same page and know each other, that's important too. We've heard feedback on that, so.
Yep, we
Thank
have
you.
him, so far, we have him scheduled to department head-wise to meet with DPW. We have Department of Health, Treasurer's Office, IT. We've communicated with, gosh, I'm forgetting someone, probably someone very essential. Oh, Sheriff, yep, Sheriff's scheduled, and obviously Carissa.
So, if I remember right, he started out as an enlisted man and worked his rank up to the full-bird colonel status.
Yes.
Which is quite an accomplishment unto itself. We all met with him in here in a closed session. It seems like he has a lot of commitment, and he certainly has a lot of kind of a fine staff down there, and a lot of other department heads to rely on and help him get broke in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Okay. Unfinished business. New business. Good of the order. None of that. I will take a motion for adjournment, please.
Bissett.
Thank you, Mr. Bissett. A second?
Ricketts Wales.
Thank you.